Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the 9th episode of Cinemafia. I am your main host, Lewis. I'm going to pass it over to the guy who's actually been throwing me off this entire time. I'm going to pass it over to Asher. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Shit, okay. Hi, I'm not the host. I'm Asher.
And he's been trying to fuck me over all day. Now we're going over to Andrew. Andrew, say hello to our fans.
Hello, fans. I'm Andrew, your favorite. But I'm sure you'll have a new favorite today because we have a guest joining us. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello. My name is Abdullah. My first time on a podcast, so it's quite exciting.
We are delighted to have you here.
I'm delighted. I don't know about you two.
I know about you three. I'm delighted more.
And look, I'm going to have to pass it over to Asher, which is a great shame for me, but can you please tell us what film we're looking at today and maybe just a few basic details about the film?
Sure. So today we have seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, directed by George Roy Hill. See, I had that information
you're
right
very
ahead of me,
prepared.
and then I had to scroll down to actually find it.
And no one noticed. No one noticed that slight pause, which may have
I'll
divided
edit all
it.
of this out. Don't you worry.
Screenplay written by William Goldman, a very important name, and let me just read you a little bit of what's about it.
Abdullah's like crying.
Whoa, it hasn't even started yet.
Abdullah, this isn't even our peak comedy form yet.
I thought this is actually the peak. I thought I'd do a really good job of this bit. I don't know. You don't need to turn it down. You don't need to play it down. This is as good as it gets for me, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
The true story of fast draws and wild rides, battles with posses, train and bank robberies, a torrid love affair, and a new lease on outdoor life in faraway Bolivia. It is also a character study of a remarkable friendship between Butch, possibly the most likable outlaw in frontier history, and his closest associate, the fabled, ever dangerous Sundance Kid.
That was beautiful. You didn't have any fuck-ups there. That was awesome. That was very well done. Now I'm going to pass it over to Andrew. Andrew, I want you to explain the Cinemafia game and how it relates to our Cinemafia podcast here.
Of course. Cinemafia is the game show where we are talking about a film. We're reviewing it. You know, we're saying what we thought about it. Oh, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was shit. Except one of us is lying. That's right. One of us has been predetermined to be the Mafia, and they're going to be presenting a disingenuous opinion on what they thought about the film. And it is up to the rest of us to vote them off by the end of the episode so that the town can win.
Yes, and today's cards, we grabbed some Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and if you got the trap card, this is just to remind our competitors here, if you got the pink trap card, you are the Mafia.
It isn't me.
Well, it's not me
either.
It's
Jinx.
not me.
Wow.
Well, if you would like to follow along and know who the Mafia is, you can go to where, Andrew?
www.tinyurl.com/Cinemafia spoilers.
There we go.
Flawless.
Fantastic. We forgot to do that in the previous episode. I made sure we did it here, and your delivery was just fantastic. I think you're going to do really well in this episode.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do really well in this episode as a non-Mafia member. But first, what we should do is present our votes.
Exactly.
And by votes, I mean, let's vote. We're voting it off. It's Asher.
We're voting right now.
No, we should
Thanks for
show
watching.
our opinions.
Yes, exactly. Let's give our ratings out of 10. I will go first. I have given this an 8 out of 10.
I have given this an 8 out of 10.
I've given this an 8.5 out of 10. My bad.
You 8.5. You 8.
Yep.
I gave it a 7.
I give it a 7.5.
Ooh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
All right, so universally, it was pretty well liked.
Interesting.
At least as of what we know right now, you know? There's a chance that whoever the Mafia is has given this like a 10 or a 9 or a 9.5. There's also the chance they've given it a 5 or, a 6.
That's true.
For
Wow.
me, just
Or a
personally.
2 or a 1 or a 4 or a 4.5.
Yeah,
The possibilities are endless.
They're literally infinite.
Yeah.
But just to explain it to Abdullah, we do go on the rule that we don't want to be differing our rating by less than 2 because it's not a meaningful difference. Because you can like the film, but lie about loving it, for instance.
True.
So
That's fair.
after we've given our ratings, we like to go around the table and everyone sort of gives a brief, maybe 1 or 2 minute summary of their thoughts on the film. So Abdullah, being our guest, are you confident? You look shocked. You're giving me like are you confident? Would you like to go first and give us your brief little thoughts on the film?
Absolutely. So
Go ahead.
So this was a Western, obviously, from the 60s. I am not usually a fan of Western films growing up, but recently I've been watching some Western films and I've started to, I guess maybe in my maturity, appreciate them. I've watched this actually because it reminded me of a film I watched earlier in the year called The Sisters Brothers, which is more recent, very recent, with Joaquin Phoenix. So this was because it's all kind of a buddy western kind of thing, and this is the same thing. So I thought it was quite interesting. The style of it was quite interesting for me to observe. Some choices of like sound and ambience, and some sort of choices with the color grading in the film, and so that was very interesting, and also the characterization of that world. Because I didn't read much of it before coming in, so I thought it's going to be their young adventures, going robber barons, stealing from trains, and it was maybe there was a bit of that, but it wasn't about that. It was much more than that, and so that was what made it quite an interesting movie.
Okay, cool. Who would like to go next?
Sure. I'm gonna fill this
Looks
goddamn
at
awful silence.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gave this a 7. Abdullah, you gave it a 7.5. Was that correct? Mm-hmm. Yes. I thought it was really fun film, really enjoyable play between the two main characters, Sundance and Butch, and some parts of the film I found too slow, which is sort of evidenced by Lewis
You falling
trying to wake
asleep.
me up.
Yeah, listeners, Asher was constantly falling asleep. His eyes were constantly dimming. He was acting as if he's just squinting, but I'd have to, slap him on the leg, and you could see he's visibly, shocked because he's trying to have a little
But then
nap.
he just kept doing it throughout the show.
Yeah, because I couldn't trust you. I couldn't trust you to not fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You understand I had to do this because
there was a particularly drawn out part of the film.
The escape?
Which was the escape, yeah. But in some ways, that's not a big negative, because it was actually an interesting choice, because it's playing into what these guys are going through, which is they just have to be alert for this really long time, really protracted escape, and they don't really know if it's over yet and all that. So not bad at all, that part, but I suffered through it in a way. I really liked the characters, which are so fun.
That's what they're called.
And
Yeah.
the stylized
The things. They do the stuff.
the sepia stylized parts, I didn't necessarily understand the significance of
Neither.
that, but it looked very pretty. It
That's
really
good.
did. Yeah, it's not a wonderful film, but a very solid film with a really neat story about these two guys, and I think it was a really nice ending. Really cool shootout, and leaves it open to a sequel, right?
I think in history something else may have happened.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
Look,
Maybe over to you, Andrew.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this film. I rated it an 8 out of 10. I would call it a great film. What held it back for me was the drawn out parts. There were parts that were too slow, could have done with a bit of speeding up, but I can understand why they did it, because, it was the tenseness and it was showing that they were in this protracted escape scene.
Andrew, there's this word in English for tenseness.
Oh, yeah.
It's called tension.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Fucking
worries.
idiot.
All right, I'm leaving. See you guys later. I'm off. Nah, but as opposed to that, there were so many things that I really liked. I thought the characters were charming. I really liked their humor. There were so many good lines in this film. There were so many good witty one-liners, and unlike Hollywood's, now these one-liners didn't seem forced. It wasn't just like a quip because you've just beaten the bad guy. It was like genuine reaction, because these guys were so comfortable with one another, and they're so used to humor and understating things in their line of work, that they just easily joke about anything and everything. And it was really funny seeing and listening them talk to each other all the time about these sorts of things. It was great. One of the lines was right at the start that I wrote down. Butch and Sundance were heading back to the hole in the wall, which is their hideout after some sort of successful escapade. And Sundance is saying, "Yeah, Butch, you're the brains. It's a good thing you've got brains. You should, because that's what you're good at." And then you've got a vision. And then Butch responds with, "Yeah, I got vision, and the rest of the world wears bifocals." Yeah, and it just that was okay, whatever. But then you sort of more and more of that sort of thing happened, and it really sort of grew on me.
Like the bravery line, that was quite something, where he goes, I'll I'll run out and get the ammo. It's like, no time. Not a time to be brave, so I'll let you go.
Yeah.
And when they were about to jump, there was another funny line where he was like, You've got no other choice. You have to jump. And he's like, yeah, I have to jump, but I'm not gonna. Stuff like that. It was really funny. But yeah, I really like the film. Oh, and one more quick thing I can say. It was beautiful. The shots were beautiful. Beautiful areas. Really lovely countryside. Over to Lewis.
Yeah, if you guys are done taking up all the time, I'd like to get some words in edgewise if I can manage.
Sorry, Lewis, we have to put in an ad sponsor right now. We don't have time.
This is an advert for the Cinemafia podcast. Check out the Cinemafia
so check
podcast
us out on Instagram. We do the sponsor a little bit just after we've all given our
that's enough.
opinions.
That's enough.
But we don't have time.
Shut the fuck up.
Look, I didn't get this bit, Asher.
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
terrible.
Yeah.
Did you get it, Abdullah? Say no.
He got it.
Say no. Oh, he's staying silent.
Oh,
anyways,
he's
look,
Mafia.
Lewis,
he's too scared.
Just what did you think?
I'm just going to go on and give my brief little thoughts on the film. I thought this was a fantastic film. I gave this an 8.5. There were moments when I wanted to give this a 9 out of 10. I wanted to go very close to Seven Samurai, but as you said, there were moments where, even though I appreciate the idea of their escape, there was just, and I did like the minimal soundtrack. I liked how it sort of was very atmospheric as you just see them, you just hear them traversing the gravel and and you see all the shots. But I thought those moments were a bit dull. But other than that, I thought this was a fantastic film. I love the chemistry between the two guys. They're both very sarcastic. Butch is the one who's much more jovial. He's trying to be a character. And Sundance, he doesn't realize how entertaining he is because he's trying to be, sort of a badass. And even though their personalities are very different, they both, as I said, very good chemistry. They play off of each other very well. I was shocked at how funny this film was because I feel like a lot of films, especially old films like this, which is 50 years old? More than that? Is it 60 at this point?
50.
50, yeah, 50 or whatever. I can't do math. I feel like when I watch old films, I have to get myself into a mindset to appreciate some of the aspects where it's these were different people at a different time. I have to trick myself into thinking, oh yeah, that joke, I understand what they're going for, therefore I'm going to force myself into finding it funny. But here, there were just, as you guys said, there were just so many great one-liners.
They were
and just
timeless.
Yes, exactly. I also thought there was a bit of good slapstick as well, just when they're being chased and they hear a little slither behind them, and then Sundance turns around and just falls over and gets a perfect shot, and it's just a rattlesnake or something.
A lizard. It was some sort of lizard.
Yeah, those are the great moments like that. Sorry?
This is the most crucial part of the film, actually. Was it a lizard or a snake?
Snake.
I thought it was a snake. The thing
I'm just done. All right.
Okay,
I'm leaving again.
This is an important point because I respect Andrew as an intelligent person. So when he corrects me, I'm just okay, you know what? That's Andrew saying it. This is the final straw. Whatever he says goes. So I'm okay, I'm just going to trust him. But then other people stand up for me and they say my opinion, even though I didn't want to say it out loud, and they back me up, and now we've proven him wrong.
Look, guys, it was just like a fucking unicorn. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Another thing I really loved was the action scenes. I didn't there were moments, especially with the dynamite, I didn't expect the shots to be as interesting as they were, when they have gone to get the train a second time, and the second time what's it called? The
Woodcock.
Yeah, that's the name of the fucking object that keeps the money in it. It's a
Safe.
woodcock, actually. The safe. Thank you. He always does this.
Woodcock.
Whenever I try to think of a word, he offers a suggestion. It's always wrong. Anyways, the safe. When they go for the train the second time, and it's got way more defense on it, way more locks and little things
Woodcock.
covering it up.
Sorry, I thought.
And so they're we're going to need more dynamite, and then they put obviously far too much, and then they're standing back, and then there's that great shot as it cuts to the shot of them, in the foreground, and the train and the safe is in the background, and it just blows up, and the flames come right towards them. Everything just explodes. I thought that was a fantastic shot.
Money goes flying everywhere.
Exactly.
And then there's a funny line. He's like, do you think you used enough dynamite?
Yeah.
But it was good.
Yeah, I thought all of the action scenes were fantastic. Even before we got to the actual shootout at the very end, I thought the heists and the robberies were very fun. They use two main tactics. There's role playing, when they're getting the train the first time, and they cover the mouth of the woman, and then Butch plays along being her. And there's also there was another moment in the second half of the film, some point in Bolivia. I can't remember exactly, but there was also it was when it was Cassidy and Etta when they were visiting the bank owner.
That's such a cool
and they're playing
scene.
as if if they're like some rich people who would like to, invest their gold or whatever. And it's like, oh yeah, we'll take your gold and then, we'll lend it out, whatever that stuff. And then it's like, oh, they're actually robbing them. There was also distractions. So the main one I think of is when they throw away the money to the Bolivian or Mexican bandits. And because I sort of know, like, these guys are just like scavenging for money. So they're immediately going to get the sack of money and start going through that. So I thought, even though there wasn't too much strategy, I did appreciate that. And then there weren't actually too many shootouts until we got to the very end of the film. And I thought that final shootout was fantastic, especially how like the pacing of the shots, because like at first it's very, very slow. You see Butch and Sundance taking their time between Sundance shooting and Butch running, and then at the very end when they're all getting shot, it's just bang, 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 a bunch of shots cutting to all of these soldiers shooting them. And yeah, I thought the action was fantastic. And another thing that Andrew pointed out, I thought the shots were outstanding. I loved how they were showing just this vivid setting, not only in Bolivia but also in the first half of the film when they're in, I guess, just where was it? Do we know what state it was in?
No.
Yeah, just the general US. It really reminded me of, this is my main thing. I mean,
it was the West, so it was east of California because they were talking about California.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. Maybe somewhere around Arizona, perhaps.
Doesn't matter. Because I was just thinking, because I really love the original Red Dead Redemption, there were a lot of shots where it makes me think, did they take inspiration from this film? Because it's just like a great dynamic as they're exploring all of these shots, and like you'll see like the orange like side of like the I don't know what you call, like, the stone and everything, and then you got like the greens just come out very vividly, as well as the sky. I just thought there were so many beautiful shots.
Wyoming,
okay. Especially when even though the escape scene, as I said, was a bit dull at points, when it's just Butch and Sundance just like waiting up in the rocks, and they're just like sitting down trying to see if they can see these people who are coming after them, you really get to just like sit there. Sorry, you just get to... I know, sorry. I'm talking so much, my voice is getting raw. They just like sit there and they're just, they're looking out for the people who are coming after them. But for us, we get to see like this really amazing setting. Like we see, the darkness over the hillside and, the stone and the rock and everything. I thought it was beautiful. So, I thought this film was fantastic. 8.5 out of 10.
Lewis isn't Mafia. Lewis is not Mafia.
Why do you say that?
Because he spoke way too much. That is the most he's ever spoken.
Yeah.
And probably because he was speaking faster than usual as well. I
Yeah.
don't know. I trust him at this point.
I agree. I was thinking 8.5 is quite a high rating. You could pretend to have liked the film, but no, I mean to have loved it, but given it a 6.5. But no, I think you did a good job justifying 8.5.
If I can make
You bastard.
I could believe anyone's rating up to 9 because I thought this film was great. I could totally see someone rating this film a 9 out of 10.
If I could make just a funny little aside, I'm not going to give you guys definitive proof of this because I think that would sort of take the fun out of it.
Yeah.
But when I checked my card, I initially got confused and I thought I had the trap card, and so I was like, okay, shit. Because I love this film. How am I going to argue that this is... Because my actual rating, as I've given, is 8.5. And I was thinking to myself...
very meta.
I know.
If you are Mafia.
No, because that's the point. Because I was thinking, okay, shit, I'm going to have to argue that this is at least a 6.5 because there's no way I feel I could go lower. And I was like, maybe I'll just say I enjoyed the comedy, but I couldn't really get into it. And then I looked at my card again. I was like, oh no, this is not the trap card. Thank God I can actually give my real thoughts on this film because I thought this was such a fantastic film that... And I feel like maybe Andrew's going to let me down. We'll see. But I feel like this is a film where it's like, no, you cannot say this film was worse than all right. Like, you can't say this was a bad film. You can't say it was mediocre. I think at worst, you can say it was all right. I feel like there's something for everyone here. Like, if you didn't enjoy the dynamic between the characters and you didn't enjoy the action scenes, I feel like there was so much, like, great comedy where even that could win you over.
Lewis, the people who are going to let you down here are
Myself.
Abdullah
I know.
or Asher, for sure.
Wow.
I think Ash is mostly on my sites at this point because of that 7.
Wait, what? He's on your side?
Yeah, on my sites.
Oh, okay.
You know,
in your sites?
Because, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I said before, and
You
then
said
you
on.
said on.
He said
So
on both
what,
times.
What? No, I didn't.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I said
you
he's in
can
my
rewind yourselves.
Yeah. Either way, I'm the one who edits this, so I'll just like edit in you saying in instead of on, whereas like he's in my sites, just like that.
Yeah. All right.
Anyways, go on.
Ash is in my sites. He said it's a 7. That means there's room for 9. And as I said before, I could believe someone rating it
There
a
is
9.
no room for 9.
There's always room.
But again, this is a subjective rating.
especially.
It really even though I was tired today, it takes, it doesn't. Not any film would cause me to fall asleep. And there's just a massive 30-minute block in the middle where it was too slow for me. But what I was witnessing through my sleepy eyes
While
was
constantly
interesting.
being tapped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
fuck.
Lewis was being fucking annoying to me. He
Because
was
I
like
wanted you to-
tapping me. He's like, look at Ash. Yeah. I was like, I don't care. Let him
like-
sleep
it's
if
like,
he
Andrew,
wants.
this
He's
is
a
the
big,
podcast.
He's a big boy. He can do what he wants.
But it's like, this is the podcast that we built from the ground up, Andrew, and this fuckwit over here, he's trying to ruin it. He's not taking it seriously.
All right, it's time to kick him out.
I'm not trying
Yeah.
to ruin it. I'm just going to add a little bit of spice up in here, you know?
Yeah.
To be fair, Asher said he had seen the film a number of years ago.
Yes.
So when he told me that, I was like, oh, okay, I guess you can have a little bit of
number
sleep.
of
You can have a
years
little
ago.
bit of a nap, boy.
I think I saw it about 5 years ago. with
Okay,
my
yeah,
dad.
that's
long enough.
yeah, that's long enough. You know, you were way different back then.
My dad
You've
went through a
regressed
phase
massively.
of rediscovering Western films because he went to America and Utah, Wyoming.
He's like, wow, I wish I could be an outlaw.
he went to where this was filmed in Wyoming and climbed the Devil's Tower there and got really into Western films and showed us all some films. So we binged them. Once Upon a Time in the West and this one, a few others too. But yeah, so I knew the story. I wasn't going to miss anything, and I kind of already knew what I thought about it. But it really. That last scene is just so well done because it climaxes really nicely.
It builds up.
It builds up because at first you're like, oh, they could take it, and then
Yeah.
it's like, wow, this is a serious fight. They're actually stressed, and then just at the last second, right? It's a realistic, and that's right. It's actually a true story based on a true story.
Yeah, and it kind of a subversion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of what you expect from a Western.
Yeah,
in a sense.
and it's nice because the entire time when they do have those shootouts or when they are being chased by people, they're like they'll be shot at, but the shots never actually get them, and so you sort of think, oh, they have a bit of plot armor here, so are we just going to get like a very stereotypical happy ending? And then at
but
the end,
God,
I love the shot at the end because you see all the soldiers being rallied, and it's like they're you know they're up high, they're down low, they're all
least
throughout.
50.
Yeah, and then we have that final shot where they run out, and the film has a freeze frame just before we can like we hear all the shots being fired, and so we know they're obviously dead, but you know we have that final like heroic shot of them.
Yeah,
two people like having their and it's so sad for me because they're planning like they're still in character where they're like getting annoyed at each other because it's like I don't want to hear your stupid plan. It's like let's go to Australia, and then he's like I don't want to go to Australia. Do they even have land there? And it's like they're staying in character. They don't like maybe they don't realize that they're actually about to die, or they do realize.
I think
it.
they absolutely.
do
And-
know.
yeah, that's
I think
yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
last bit of comfort.
Yeah, it's sort of
exactly.
them, like
They're-
being true
yeah.
to themselves before their self.
I think they knew that their wounds that they had were fatal anyway. So I've both times that I've seen that it's been the case that during that really iconic style of like the people dying like classic Saving Private Ryan, this and that, and they're just like, hey man, mom's cooking, mom's cooking, stuff
that's
like
sort of
that.
the comfort stuff.
Yeah.
But they did it so well. It's
Yeah.
adults being fun and showing their love for one another.
It wasn't out of place like some of those examples.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that example, like, because they were acting like how they usually act.
Yeah, exactly.
In the Saving Private Ryan example, they talk about, remember mom's cooking? That's a little out of nowhere. But
I don't know if it was Saving Private Ryan.
yeah,
like
I
that,
know,
but you know what I'm
I
talking
was just
about.
using that as an
Yes,
example. But this one, it was like natural because they've always been acting like that together, always with these stupid lines. It was so funny. Even like one of the last lines, it was like, don't tell me one of your stupid ideas anymore. And he's like, Australia, I thought you secretly wanted to know, so that's why I told you.
Yeah, I also really liked how Etta, for the first half of the film before they go to Bolivia, she's just like the love interest who's it's sort of one thing I didn't like is they don't really explore the love triangle there. They sort of imply
They
how
imply
it's-
it.
yeah, they imply that she
Yeah.
is more interested in Sundance. And you see those shots in the montage of the photos where you see Butch sort of sitting down being sort of depressed, where it's like, oh, he's got the girl, but then you also see him sort of having a bit of a smile where it's like, oh well, at least they're together. My point was she was the love interest at the start, but then the second half in Bolivia she's way more active, and I like how she's shown to be intelligent. She's helping them with the translations. She's trying to get them in order. She's like bossing
She's
them
a
around.
teacher.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
she's even helping out in the actual shootouts and going into the heists and everything.
Yeah.
It was a really cool development for her character.
There's a really beautiful line. She says, I don't want to watch you die or something,
Yeah.
right? When
Yeah.
they're planning on going to Bolivia, and she's like, yeah, okay, I'll go, but like, fuck, I don't want to watch you die.
Yeah.
And she doesn't watch them die.
Yeah.
So
I think she kind of felt that this is kind of their last hurrah.
yeah, yeah,
That's why she's
absolutely.
kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna go now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
if you have any thoughts, you should go ahead.
No. It's just he's there with her character. One of the few parts, like maybe the only part in the film that I really disliked was that montage that came out of nowhere
Of the photos?
with the bicycle with the scene that
yes.
Andrew, would you
Yeah,
like?
Andrew had a bit of a
because sort of the film had this whole style that was going
Yeah.
for this kind of gritty, realistic, only music you hear is like what's in the place, like I think it's called diegetic, but the in the of where we were. But then out of nowhere, he takes on a bicycle and it goes into this song.
Yeah.
And then they just that's it. It's just like this whole 4 minutes of
I didn't really enjoy that scene. I did enjoy how it was sort of building on Butch's character of being this sort of wacky, happy-go-lucky sort of dude.
Fun-loving guy.
And I kind of got it as the film progressed because you needed some light-hearted these light-hearted moments because the whole film is not like that for the most part. Anyway.
I completely disagree.
Ooh,
I think the whole film is lighthearted and fun, even when they're dying. Everything is relaxing and sort of lighthearted, and only when they're dying is they're like, oh yeah, haha, this was real, and even then they're still joking. That thing at the start where they're, he's going on the cycle and he's having a grand old time, that sort of thing, that was right at the start of the film. How were we supposed to know if it was going to be gritty or not at that point?
Oh, but we've already been watching the film.
Yeah, we had seen a bit, like we saw like the opening where we see like that little, it's like a fake little cinema, and we see them doing the heist and everything.
Yeah, and then they go to the hole in the wall, right? And then they have that fight with his guy, and he's like, so what are the rules? He's like, it's a knife fight, there are no rules. And then he immediately gets him with a nut shot and then smacks him in the face. He's like, good, glad there's no rules. And they kept on making jokes all the time. No, it was always going to be lighthearted.
But that bicycle scene rather was still a little bit unnecessary. They could have established the relationship between Etta and Butch in a playfully, but without necessarily, pretending that Butch was an expert cyclist.
Yes, all right.
Somehow out of the blue.
That was I made a big song and dance about this in the film. They were, a bike had just been presented for sale, and it's like it's going to change the world.
So we're establishing that it's a new invention, at least in this area.
And it's a new development because penny farthings existed, but only I presume in England, right? Regardless of all that,
we don't know that shit. Don't ask us when the penny farthing was invented and where.
1890s.
Did you just Google it, or are you just making that up?
No, I'm just on the...
The story of the film is in the 1890s.
Yes, 1890s.
Okay. They talk about the Spanish War.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway, the bicycle. All right, and so blah blah blah. The bicycle. Eventually, Butch ends up with one, and this is presumably because it's a new invention. The first time he's ever ridden on one, and we see him doing like Superman's cycling backwards,
cycling with his feet.
Cycling with his feet.
Like
he's
no
got
handlebars.
Balanced on his front, and it's like it takes kids like months to learn how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
Well, weeks. Weeks or months, depending on, the intelligence of this kid in question.
I think it's for the sake of entertainment. I think because the film is kind of like a lot of people, like a lot of you mentioned, is parts of kind of this quiet running away with not much music happening. I think I think they kind of put it in for the sake of that kind of this moment before we get into the whole running away from this like mysterious villains, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was an important, like looking back at it after watching the film, I think it was like kind of like if I was a producer, I was like, okay, you gotta put something there,
Yeah, I did appreciate how it was showing the relationship between Etta, and we're immediately confused because we're like, oh, well, we thought that Etta is with the badass Sundance, but now she's like being really close with him. Then when we see there's actually a bit of a love triangle. I would have preferred though if instead of that random montage with the sort of sappy music and the joke of him playing around with this,
keep falling on my head.
Yes, thank you for that, Andrew. I would have preferred like the writers are clearly. They're clearly great writers for comedy, so I would have preferred if instead of them going on a cycle ride, if they instead went to, I don't know, like a cafe or something and went and got some food or something, just went and did some like chores out in the town, and we saw their interactions naturally in the world. Yeah, exactly, like natural banter. I would have preferred that as opposed to that little scene, because that was one of the scenes where I was like, wow, I was really enjoying the film up till this point, but I hope we don't have this sort of non-action, like non-actual Western sort of stuff from here on.
Overall, I liked that scene. Even though I made that big song and dance, I thought it was fun. I thought it presented Butch quite well. And what happened to me was that it led me slightly confused because I legitimately thought for a few moments that it was a three-way relationship.
Oy.
And I was like, this is crazy. And then I was thinking, I was like, that's why they're so famous. partially because, you know, like they did all this crazy stuff, including having a 3-way relationship because they're so close.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, they're so close, and Sundance is fine with that, you know, that sort of thing. And then I was like, that can't be right because this is the 1890s, you know, that sort of thing. That can't be right. So slowly, you know, the magic dulled, you know. I
just got to say, it wasn't right then, and you know, gosh darn it, it's not right today.
Oh boy.
No.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I thought the scene was fun. It was funny.
Fair enough.
I was smiling while watching it.
It was mirrored also by that playful poppy music playing Brandowski flew on my head. Mirrored the scene where they're in Bolivia and they rob the bank. With Etta too. So these are two scenes with Etta where they're doing exciting out there stuff, glamorously, montage style. So I don't know, maybe that's intentional, that when it was one with Cassidy and one with Sundance. And so when they have these outings with Etta and they have a grand old time.
Yes.
It's
great.
And the pop music plays.
Yes.
Which is quite fun. Yeah.
One thing I didn't like, we don't actually ever get properly introduced to the guy in the white hat who's like leading the troop sponsored by the train conductor.
I think that's really good storytelling. That kind of, I think, because a lot of what I was thinking is, what does this mean? What is the context that the writer's thinking about? That the villain is always far away, and kind of hidden away. And what does that mean for the character? What does that mean for us? And is there any commentary?
Yeah, I did like that they gave him the white hat, because then it's like, even though we don't actually learn too much about him, when we see him traveling towards us, we see the white hat, and we've seen him on the mountaintop or the rock top, and it's like, okay, there's the white hat. We know this is menacing. I didn't need him to like have like a full fleshed out backstory, but I would have liked to actually like see his face a bit more and just learn a bit more about him. Like maybe at the very end, just before he like helps lead the Bolivians, or I think it was implied that he helped lead the Bolivian soldiers to their location, right?
No.
Wasn't it?
He was
I thought that
not
was implied.
connected. No, it was the local constabulary.
Okay.
And then the military that came in.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did the military get there so fast?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, because that's what I took it as, because I thought it made sense. This guy, he's followed them across the country, even outside of the country into the US, and I thought he would have like tipped off the soldiers and been like, that's what I took it as. But if it's correct that he didn't actually partake, then that would be a missed opportunity for me, because then he's this big threat who's always in the distance, and then they don't even have any real connection to him at the end of like the big payoff at the end of the scene.
I think that's sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead.
No, I think it's intentional. I think I don't know, because I thought, okay, what is, if there's anything symbolic about it, what is it? And I thought, is it this kind of, first I thought it's the guilt and the fear, that has been catching up on them. They've been doing this like at the moment of the story for a very long time, and it's looming over them. This kind of what they've been doing. It's
finally catching up to them.
Literally catching up to them.
They cannot adapt to normal society anymore.
We get that like shown. No, it's okay. We get that shown to us in the scene where they're trying to go straight, and they find that guy who was very funny, and I was sad he was killed off so quickly. The old timer. Yeah, and then they're like trying to play it straight. They're trying to go on like a normal job, and they actually end up going back to one of the banks that they've robbed, and they're trying to like keep themselves down. So that's like a first little hint where it's
escorting
like they can't just go back, because everything they've done, they can't go back to normal lives, and then they get ambushed by these bandits, and then I believe it's Sundance himself who says, how we're going to, like, they're really shocked after they shoot those bandits, because that's them realizing, and that's why it's like a big slow-mo shot of all the bandits being shot, because it's like, we tried to go straight, we can't, we've just killed more people, and he says, how we said we wanted to go straight, Butch, maybe we should try from here on. And that's sort of them acknowledging they just can't. They've made their bed, they have to lie in it.
But not only that scene where they killed the bandits, we realize then that Butch Cassidy never shot a gun.
He's all talk.
Yeah,
that's partially why I presume he was so beloved.
Yeah, it's cool. Because it's just
Woodcock.
all strategy.
He doesn't want to harm Woodcock. Yeah. He's like, Woodcock, you're right. Yeah, checks up on him and wakes him up.
And that was foreshadowed at the very start, when it's that one guy who's challenging him in his gang. Harry's like, knives or guns. And we're wondering to ourselves, okay, if he's like this legendary bank robber,
he's like,
train
I don't
robber.
want to shoot you.
Exactly. If he's led this, how come he's got this ace gunman on his side, how come he doesn't want to engage with him and, show the rest of his gang that he is a true leader? And that's why he has to he's acting all cowardly, and he's like saying, okay, if I die, you need to avenge me to Sundance. And then he has to use dirty, underhanded tactics to get the upper hand. So yeah, I thought that's like another really great little bit of storytelling there.
I think it was a missed opportunity with the mutineer, the one who was kept becoming leader and then lost it again when he got kicked in the nuts.
Yeah.
I think it was a missed opportunity to show him again back in the troop, if that was the case.
That
or
were
to
going
clarify.
after them.
No, well, yeah, no, not going after them, but like he's, look, I'm now the leader, but you're still one of my guys. I did tell you that you're able to like overthrow me, but I never expected you to do it. You did it. I won. We're back to normal now.
Yeah.
I think that would have been nice to see that, but we didn't have any evidence.
Yeah,
of
that sort of related also to my issue with how the guy in the white hat, we don't, they did say his name, but as I said, we don't really get introduced to him. And another issue this film had was they don't really have any other characters, because like they've got Butch and they have Sundance and they've got Etta. Those are the main characters, but they don't really have any other like main characters who are opposing them, or they're competing against. And I thought that was sort of
they're nameless in face.
Oh, you mean like a clear
like a clear antagonist, just because those characters themselves are all very colorful, like very entertaining, but I would have liked someone else who's just very distinct from them that we could sort of have a comparison to.
Because we had there is this antagonist of the guy, the owner of the railway.
Can anyone remember his name? They said
Bachman something,
exactly.
transatlantic, whatever. So he is a kind of, even though we don't see him, he is kind of a villain.
He's funding a team of experts
of Team SEAL 6 cowboys.
I'm putting together
a Native
team.
American.
And it's like, we need a Native American tracker. We need the baddest sheriff in town.
All around the country.
Yeah,
literally.
we're this super team just to show this guy that he can't steal from me.
Like even like the whole couple of shots of the train they got off from felt like some high tech train of that time with all the cylinders. And
they
stuff.
said he had made that train specially to follow his own train so that they would be protected.
Exactly. But I think to me that was actually one of my favorite parts, is that we never see these guys. I thought that was quite an interesting choice, very unique, and I thought it made me, instead of thinking about the villains, it made me think about the characters in a sense of their relationship to them running away.
I get that.
One thing that's really important and that I've been busting to say is that apparently this is based on like a true story.
Mostly.
Apparently, this is mostly true, what has happened. So therefore, it might be incorrect to say things were missed opportunities for the sake of the film, because it didn't happen in reality. And they were trying to display things that happened in reality. And while they obviously couldn't display everything, perhaps I think it's likely, if they are to be trusted, that Butch and Sundance had a sarcastic, jokey friendship relationship. And from history, we can probably learn the things about Butch, like maybe he truly didn't kill anyone, that things that we don't know. But regardless of all that, that's very important to keep in mind. So when you talk about missed opportunities, maybe they truly never saw the people who were tracking them, and that's why we never saw them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, actually, apparently in the original story, they lived in Bolivia for 8 years. I'm just reading a little bit about William Goldman and the screenplay. So he did very loosely base the screenplay on the story of Butch and Sundance and the team of people, the posse pursuing them. But if there's a comment here that it was not necessarily researched enough to be a novel, it was only researched a little bit, so a film. So I think they did definitely make some liberties and fill some holes.
I mean, they absolutely would have. But
an interesting thing, I wrote it down, is that they say this line, "Who are those guys?" maybe 5 times.
Yeah, I love that.
Which is an indication that
Who are
they
those
have
guys?
no idea.
That's
who
a good
these guys
point,
are.
yeah.
Really, they guess.
Yeah.
Oh, this must be this guy. We've heard about this guy or that guy from this person, but in the end, they actually don't know who's after them.
Yeah.
And they keep saying that because no one has been skilled enough to follow them for this long.
Exactly.
No one has been skilled enough to make them really scared.
It's like, don't people know we're gentlemen? Come on.
Which I think is interesting. I'm going to go a bit off topic. Rob Redford, who plays Sundance, he did a film recently where he was a gentleman robber.
Is that him and the old man with the gun? I think it's called.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
He goes and he has a
wow,
head,
that's funny because it's him robbing a bank as well. Oh my gosh, that's cool.
That's pretty funny.
It's very interesting, contrast.
Yeah, that's nice.
And because we've been talking about the villains, that we don't see. Those aren't the villains. That's the law.
Exactly.
That's justice.
Yeah,
that's just plain justice.
In reality,
Yeah. And these guys are the villains, and that's protagonist antagonists can get confused. Yeah,
but Butch was loved. He was a very popular figure, and Western villains and outlaws are sort of idolized in a strange sense. Everyone would agree that, yes, they are outlaws and criminals, that sort of thing.
But it's just 'cause they're so
when
cool.
we're watching a film, we can't help but be charmed and, think it's great, especially because it's from their perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
If we were watching the film, imagine a film from the Straw Hat lawman's perspective. They're starting in a dark train after, and Mr. E. Hartman, he's like, I'm putting together a team.
Not again.
E.H. Harriman.
E.H. Harriman putting together a team, and then that would be like an interesting story to see how they're tracking. And we could probably get really invested in that, because I assume from their side it's quite intense, because they've got a colourful team of people who've been put together, interesting characters. There's an Indian. There's racial undertones,
And they don't have a plan B. They
Yep.
they will pursue him until he's dead.
Yep.
They don't stop.
That's an interesting story too.
Yeah.
So, and we probably would have related to them quite a lot more than we do with Butch and Sundance, obviously, because the film is about them and they're the more famous people.
Yeah.
So,
what made them good protagonists was that even if we don't actually agree with their decisions, we can relate to them acting out of self-interest, because how we see Butch, he describes how people are interfering in their quote work. And it's like they're committing all these crimes, and so we can sort of relate to them where it's like, okay, we don't agree with you committing these crimes, but we can see you're acting out of self-interest, you're just trying to get by, this is the life you found for yourself that works best. So even though we don't agree with it, we can sort of understand why you're going this way, and we see you are like a normal person, you have a love interest, you want to just get ahead in the world. So yeah, they're basically, I guess, anti-heroes, you'd say. Yeah.
And our image of them was, totally tailored, right, to get us on their side. And also that last image of them, we were saved the horrible experience of seeing them get gunned down by
50
4
different
volleys.
people.
50 rifles. 'Cause,
Yeah.
about 3 or 4 volleys of everyone firing at their bodies.
well for their
It would have been horrific.
would have been
And
pretty violent.
So they stop it there. We have this golden image of these 2 boys getting out there in the world, having a grand old time.
They're also helped by the fact that they're made into underdogs, because at the start they're part of this legendary gang that Sundance and Butch lead, and then they're split off from them, and then there's all these people. First it's like a group of maybe 5 or 10 outlaws who are going after them, and then it's the entire army, and so it's just based on a pure numbers perspective. It's easy to see how they're the outlaws, because again, the underdogs, because even if you disagree with what's happening, you have to understand it is a bit unfair that they're so heavily outnumbered, and it's endearing that you see them put up such a great fight against these massive numbers of people and able to evade them and survive against them for so long. So they're definitely not heroes, but I think they are very compelling protagonists.
Absolutely.
I would have liked to have seen more Bolivia, because
Yeah, it was really
I've
cool.
learned that actually the second
It's a real
act
place.
in
Yeah, I didn't know
Bolivia-
that before.
Yeah, it's a real thing. But that they were there for 8 years.
Yeah, quite a while.
You'd imagine that while it was funny that they never really grasped the language, and they had to read off their
Americans.
notes
Yeah, that was
to
funny.
robberies and stuff. And I would have loved to have seen some subtitles actually in that gang scene, because I wonder what miscommunication was going on. But obviously they were pretending they weren't there for very long, maybe a few months. But if it had been that 8 years, they could have been a really, really massive part of the film, their development in Bolivia.
I think the point was that we didn't have subtitles for the Bolivians because we're still trying to see the film entirely from
their
Butch
perspective.
and Sundance
Yeah,
perspective.
which we
So it's
got
like
that.
even when they're not actually in the scene, it's like they can't understand them, at least not very well.
Because
So
we
we
knew
like
what they were trying to say.
Yeah, we
to
could tell by
them.
context. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, we've been going for about 40 minutes now.
Oh, boy.
I don't want to have another 1.5 hour special,
okay.
just like with Seven Samurai. So I think we should start casting some aspersions, throwing out ideas about who we think. So anyone want to go first? Who here thinks they know who the Mafia is, and just give some brief reasons why.
All right, I'll say I think Asher might be the Mafia.
Okay.
Only because
Fuck.
he clearly slept
Yep.
during the film. That's evidence.
Yeah. Okay.
And
It's true.
And now
Lewis
he's speaking
was
very
tapping
highly,
him.
praising the film quite a lot, giving it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
So that tells me maybe he's not fully genuine.
Okay.
Is it too late to rescind Abdullah's invitation to the podcast?
On the other hand, it was a film that I could never, ever see, not once in a million years, ever see Asher rating a 5.
Yeah.
I would never see Asher rating this film a 5 out of 10, even if he was sleeping through parts of it. And things to consider. He literally only slept through the part that he didn't enjoy, which was the long chase scene. And I must admit, I was tempted as well.
Yeah, and Asher is a sucker for like action films, I think. And so this film, which has great comedy as well, and also great characters alongside all those very fun and interesting, like the strategies we see with the heists on the, the banks and the trains and dealing with the bandits. I think there's way too much for him to rate this a 5. I would be willing to think though that he may give this a 9. So that's why I'm thinking he may be the Mafia.
That was what I was going to say. I think that it's possible that Asher gave this film a 9. However, you are my number 2.
He's pointing at Abdullah.
Absolutely, Abdullah. You are my number 2. I was very suspicious. Okay. Just, you've been speaking less, but that's not necessarily something that indicates something.
You can talk more if you want.
But yeah,
try to into a lot of detail.
But I sort of, when you've been talking about, your suspicion on Asher was a little suspicious in the sense that you seemed to imply that he would rate it a 5 out of 10, which I thought was totally illogical. There's no way if he were Mafia, he would go for his true rating being 5. Mm-hmm. And that to me could indicate that you are a Mafia who's trying to indicate Asher for a different reason, but it probably would have been better to suggest that he was going for a 9 out of 10 in actuality. Okay. So, I don't know. It's just, that's my number 2.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for defending me, Andrew.
Yeah, only partially, because I'd still say you're my number 1.
Yeah.
What? My issue is...
you think I've actually given this a 9?
What did you rate it, Abdullah?
7.5.
Yeah.
7.5. So he rated this 9.5 or 7.65. 5.5. There's no way he rated it at 5.5.
No.
And it's unlikely. It's possible he rated it at 9.5.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a pretty big event if we're actually there in person for when someone watches what they consider like a near 10 out of 10 film.
Yeah.
So I think just based on odds, I feel like, at least based on his rating and what I've said, I feel like he's being truthful. Don't make me regret this, Abdullah. I'm telling you.
Abdullah,
I can go further and talk, defend myself.
Absolutely. I want to hear you defend yourself, but I just want to make one little joke. Go on. Abdullah, during the film, he kept on going, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. During the film. He was watching the film, something funny happened. Interesting.
Yeah. And then if something shocking would happen, he would go, oh, God.
Yeah.
I love the interaction.
Yeah, I found your commentary very interesting. And see, get it? Interesting. And when you were saying interesting, I think to myself, he sounds like a Asher's putting his hands together, like Mr. Burns, like an evil villain. Like, interesting.
Right. No,
so, but sorry, that was just my quick aside. Let's hear what you had to say.
No, it's a fair point what you give, but no, I think because with the films because this film was from the 60s, right?
Yeah, 1969,
and that would like really sparked my interest.
Okay,
because I know that period in Hollywood was a transitional period, going from kind of an old Hollywood to a new Hollywood. And this film kind of was symbolized that in some way, and that's what made me really like it. Because at the beginning it was like this kind of sepia, whatever, like kind of filter, and then moved on to kind of colorful.
It became like beautiful
for
shots
the rest of the movie, and it was very, and I thought, and even the story is a story of them being part of this kind of the past, moving into this kind of new world that they are not part of, and they cannot be part of anymore, and they're being like wiped out, literally and figuratively. So that made me really interested in this film because I personally haven't watched much westerns.
Okay.
But as I became more interested in film, watching things like Good, Bad, and the Ugly and other westerns, I became okay. Actually, these westerns tell us a lot more than I expected. They're not just like there for nothing.
I don't know Abdullah very well at all, but I feel like I'm seeing passion and a sense of genuineness in what he's saying. So I want to trust him. He has the sort of eyes where it's like, I want to trust you. I believe what you're saying.
He's a jolly old thought.
Yeah, exactly.
I can vouch that Abdullah is very passionate about film.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you just dug your grave a little bit more then.
Well, I wasn't necessarily accusing him. I said,
yeah.
I think it's very unlikely, Abdullah, that you'd rate this a 9.5 because that's a very generous rating for a film that, as we've discussed, had some glaring flaws, but it was a beautiful film. But also, it's a beautiful film. You can't rate this 5.5. Lewis, somewhat suspicious of you still. You did a really good job defending your high rating, 8.5. But that gives me room to say that actually 6.5 is a more likely vote for you because that's still you can still have said everything genuinely about what you liked. Maybe one thing you might have exaggerated and you've left out part of the discussion of things that you didn't like.
Yeah.
And then Andrew, 8. it can't be a 10 out of 10 because you probably hated the soundtrack on this one too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Andrew's like a classically trained singer. He's into music, so he thinks he knows everything about music and singing. So whenever there's a soundtrack, even though these people are professional, he's like, you know what? I think I know a bit better than what
I would never say I know better.
But that's the impression we get. That's all I'm saying. That's all
Right,
I'm
the
saying.
listeners have been writing in. They've been saying,
Yeah.
Andrew just pretends like he knows a lot about film music. Score.
I'm for sure. Like if we're big, when we're big, I can almost guarantee that I'd be the least favorite person overall. Probably because I'm like the most generally annoying person who's like a know-it-all, but actually wrong half of the time. So I just talk shit and and get it wrong.
Yeah,
But
very confidently as well, talking shit.
exactly. But I'm like, right, 75% of the time, all right.
Yeah.
All right. So you're saying there's a possibility I rated this 6 out of 10.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
the
what I'm
only,
thinking.
You wouldn't rate this a 10, but you could have rated this a 6. But if I'm picking between Lewis rating this a 6.5 and you rating it a 6, because I think this is a great film, it would have to be Lewis.
Even
rating-
though I've got a history of rating good films poorly.
Yeah, because you're 7.
Good films.
Well, like, you're closer to...
Asher, you always think I'm the Mafia.
Yeah.
You always think I'm the Mafia. I've
then-
only been the Mafia one time.
Exactly. That one time,
Exactly.
I also thought you were the Mafia.
Exactly, but you always think I'm the Mafia.
Probability-wise. Probability-wise.
Yeah, because it's a good film, and it's unlikely, I think, that you rate this a 6, Andrew, but that Lewis could rate this a 6.5 and still have good impressions of the film.
I'd like to point out, and obviously this can go either way, my whole reasoning for pointing out how I actually...
Don't refer to your notes.
No, not my notes. My actual rating
okay.
itself, where I saw my card and I was like, okay, shit, I think this is... I was like, okay, this is the track
He's
card.
trying to
Shit,
entrench that whole
But this is the whole
anecdote
reason.
about-
I feel like it's too much of a gamble if I was actually the Mafia to bother bringing this up, because right from the start, Andrew said I was clear. He's like, I know, well, like for certain, or I know he's not because he talked for so long. And I generally just brought this up as a funny little aside and hopefully to bring you over to my side to show you how I'm not the Mafia, because why else would I point out that I thought I was the Mafia and gave the wrong rating?
I'm
But we can-
95% sure he's clear. I think that the smarter choice would have been to try to attack me, Mafia boy.
Well, okay, look, I never said I was good at this game, okay? Or that
That's the issue, because he's always bad at this game. When he's not the Mafia, he sort of just gives up, where he's like, oh well, I guess everyone's voting for me, and that just makes him even more.
Yeah.
When we're like 60% sure he's the Mafia, then it's like, okay, well, he's given up. We're 90%
Abdullah,
sure
just
now.
so you know, it really broke my heart when the first person that you suspected was me. Because I'm like, isn't this fucking typical?
That happened with Oscar as well. It's
Yeah.
something about you just being
All
bad at
these
this
people
game.
I'm inviting
Yeah.
on, they just bite me in the ass.
Madly suspicious.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, she's an idiot. There's
Yeah.
no way he liked this film.
7, solid film. I don't think I'd go higher than that because of the serious flaw in the middle.
It's true. It's true that he did fall asleep.
Yeah.
And most people
what I noticed.
wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I did get
So
a
that's
few
like,
seconds
but
of
that's
shut up.
He does fall asleep.
That's some pretty powerful physical
But when
evidence.
we watch stuff at our place, he does fall asleep quite frequently. He is known to do that, like during other shows and like movies that he supposedly enjoys.
It's true. I read it online. Asher is known to do that.
Yeah. He's got his own little
an
entry.
article and stuff.
Yeah, his own entry on
wipe that
Encyclopedia
stuff.
Dramatica. Just says known to fall asleep quite
TV
frequently.
tropes, Asher, when you sleep during a film.
They have that on my police file, actually. Yeah.
He's wanted
They
in several
couldn't.
New
They couldn't
World
convict him
stores.
because he was. They couldn't convict him because he was sleeping through the entire
Oh,
hearing.
man.
So they had to let him
Guys,
go.
that's a law
That's how
pro
it
tip.
works.
If you sleep during the trial, you have been. They can't charge you. You have been declared like
You've
already been
inebriated or
That's how it
unconscious.
works.
Yeah.
That's
So-
how justice works.
So
He
they'll
doesn't have the
send-
consent of the
Andrew,
police.
it's if you're unfit to stand trial,
Yeah.
because if you're sleeping, you're obviously
Unconscious.
Not, you're lying
Yeah.
on the ground. That's not standing.
Good thing for
at
you
all.
is Asher. They'll take one look at you and they'd say, "Oh yeah, he's clearly unfit for trial." Hey.
Oh,
no,
gosh. Look, he's Mafia.
No.
A roast of that level, only God has dictated it after that roast.
Guys, I may be bad at this game,
Yeah.
but I'm better at being Mafia than this.
Mm.
So
'Cause that time that I
so
was
you're
Mafia-
really accusing Lewis over myself or Abdullah? Really?
Yeah.
Yikes. He is certain.
Because what exactly do you think I'm lying
Abdullah
about?
and
'Cause-
I have weaker cases than Lewis.
Yeah, what do you think I'm lying about? Because I have made my own criticism, but I've also gone on at length about what I love about this.
Yeah, you bombarded me with details about how it was
bombarded you,
Yeah,
as
me
opposed to
personally.
just everyone else.
You attacked me with all of your evidence.
Okay.
But I can't bring to mind because there was so much there. Yeah,
Andrew's
how's his
checking my
pulse,
pulse.
Andrew? What's he on?
He's
His
dead.
pulse is high.
Oh.
I mean, I'm naturally like tense. You know
true.
that.
That's true.
Yeah.
He was shaking a little bit as well.
Did you know there's evidence to suggest that mammals have
Fucking
a
hell.
limited and defined a number of heartbeats? For wild animals, it's about 1.5 billion. I think it's billion. Or
I
is it
can't
million?
even accuse this of being an attempt to distract you.
listen. We gotta listen. This is important.
No, sorry, it's 1.5 million. And blue whales have a very slow heartbeat, and they have about the same
They get 10
number
in their whole life.
No, 10, but they get the same number of heartbeats in their lifetime on average as mice do, which have a very fast heartbeat. But humans with civilization have about 2.5 to 3 million. So actually, Lewis, you should be worried about your heartbeat because you're using up all of your beats.
Okay. I was going to say,
And you're the Mafia.
I would accuse Asher of being the Mafia for this reason, also because he's bringing up a random point to distract the
No,
actual
see,
conversation.
I do it every single
Exactly,
time.
that's what I'm going to say.
He does
you
do
always
the same
that.
thing
So
every
it's
single
just,
time. So now it's like kind of meta for Asher to
Absolutely.
bring up a point
Oh.
that's irrelevant.
Guys, what do you think
when
of
I'm
this?
getting
One thing,
accused.
Neil Armstrong is quoted with saying, "God gave me a certain God gave me a certain amount of heartbeats, and I'll be damned if I waste them running up some street."
Okay.
So
Wow.
that's and
Yeah.
back
Guys,
up.
I want to hear
Thank
your
you.
thoughts. This is like a crazy aside.
Okay.
This could either ruin the game or it
Yep.
could be a very fun
Or
bit
it
of
could
meta.
make the game.
Right.
What if I was to say what color my card was? And you guys could think maybe I'm taking a shot in the dark, maybe I'm lying because I'm Mafia,
Lewis.
and then this would let those of you who aren't the Mafia
Look,
realize, okay, there's a good
guys,
chance then that he's not the Mafia.
I'm gonna reveal something I did before.
Uh-oh.
I was talking up Lewis big time. I was talking him up.
Yeah, you were.
I was really going, Lewis is awesome. He's sick at this game. He's definitely. And then and then immediately when Asher started talking, I spent solid 30 seconds looking at Lewis. All right, I was looking at him up and down. I was looking at his legs. I was looking at his hands. I reached over and felt his pulse.
You did.
This
Yeah.
is when I told you that his pulse was quite high. However,
It's naturally a tense situation.
yeah, that's natural. That's
Yeah.
natural. And all that I can say is that I don't really know. I'm not. I know. I know expert. I haven't seen him shake before when he was high Mafia. So
What? High Mafia?
no, when he was confirmed Mafia,
Oh,
back
okay.
in the past. So
Yeah.
so now that I've got one experience of looking at Lewis when he was talking, I now need to compare it against future experiences.
and then
However,
tally.
my inclination is telling me that it's unlikely, though I'm less sure because he was quite tense.
I'd also like to point out, I do actually have, it's not like a condition, but I do have a thing where I do shake normally, and I can show you this, guys. You guys can check back in a week when we're not actually playing Mafia. Like, watch me, like, hold the pen.
And for those
This
of
is-
us
this is natural,
listening right now, Lewis
The
is
pen.
trembling quite a lot,
Yeah.
probably because of his Mafia
This is
affiliation.
exactly my point. I've shown Andrew this about maybe 6
He
months
has,
ago.
he has.
I have shown him this, and I was like picking up a packet, and that was shaking as well because I don't know what. I've seen the doctor. I don't have diabetes, so that's not what's causing it. And I don't have any serious issues with my blood. For some reason, I just hold things and I shake.
Natural anxiousness, perhaps.
And I don't know what it is. So apparently, I don't have anything seriously wrong with me. But yeah, maybe it's just I'll hold
He
it.
was lying to you.
Hold it in the middle. So I
Pretty
naturally.
intense, actually.
I
It
know. I
is,
don't know.
yeah,
I don't know what it is. But yeah.
Just naturally high strung.
Yep. Maybe.
All
Or
right,
maybe I've got
guys.
Parkinson's. Who knows?
How about we all just hold up pens and
Yeah, sure.
try not to
Okay.
shake
Sure,
them?
man.
All
No, no,
right.
It's easier if you hold it at the very end because then it's like it shows.
It's more, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
guys. So who's the Mafia based on this?
People,
Based on this, Lewis is the
Yeah,
Mafia.
based on this.
I'm kind of shaking too.
Yeah.
Abdullah, I can't really see. I think, yeah, he's very stable. Andrew is also very
Yeah.
stable.
I am giving it a
Oh,
light.
I'm
a
shaking more
psychopath.
now. I'm shaking.
If I try to hold it,
down.
if I try to hold it, like actually it's sort of worse then.
Guys,
but yeah,
we need cameras so that
wanna
our
see
viewers
this.
Yeah.
can get
is
in on
gold
this
content.
crazy action.
but I swear to God, I am not the Mafia. Like,
Okay.
You
like
swear
if
to God.
Yep, I
Alright.
swear to God.
So, guys,
and
it's
from
established.
now on, I'm going to need all of you guys to swear to God whether you are or not the Mafia. That's the only way this game can
I
continue.
swear to God, guys, we're all agreed. It's Lewis.
let's just do this. Let's end
Whoa,
this.
clever.
Okay. I mean, I'm still not sure who the Mafia is.
Yeah.
I sort of want to
Yes.
say it's Asher, but I feel that might just be me being
It's not
emotional
me,
because he's
Lewis.
always That's the thing. I don't know because I could easily imagine you saying this is a 9 out of
Lewis,
10.
how about I tell you the color of my card?
Well, I
but
think-
it's indistinguishable from me lying about the color of my cards because I have a sufficient knowledge of the
Abdullah-
variety of
Abdullah
cards
was
in a
very
Yu-Gi-Oh
keen.
deck.
He was very keen to just vote. He was like, let's vote.
Yeah.
I'm ready to decide.
That has been my strategy when I'm Mafia is like cast dispersions. Let's vote.
You mean what you're doing right now?
No. In the past, when I was Mafia.
But it would be smart of him to say that, and then he has the defense of course I'm not doing it now. That's why I'm explaining it now.
Yes.
Abdullah, nice shot, but
I know.
yeah. You're also not the Mafia, so stop acting like
Yeah,
it.
that's
Or
why.
am
Where
I?
were you going with that? You were about to say "nice shot, Mafia," and then you realize, oh no, wait. If it's made clear that I'm also accusing Abdullah, then it makes me seem obvious to just get anyone else to.
Lewis,
but again,
accept
you're
it.
bad at
You're
this
the
game. So
Mafia. Just vote for yourself. All right,
I'm not
trust me.
voting- I'm not voting for
Trust
myself.
me.
What parts about this film do you think Lewis disliked?
yeah, like what would you like to challenge me on? Because like I have pointed out my issues, like how they didn't explore the love triangle. They didn't really go into didn't have any like properly fleshed out antagonists. What?
Yeah, keep going. I'm just sort of gesturing at you. It's like, why are you making my job a lot easier?
Oh, well, I mean, but this is a constant thing. Like, no film is perfect. There are usually, like, still some noticeable flaws. And as you said, the escape scene, to be fair, I was also getting a bit tired during them, but because I'm not a dropkick like you, I was, like, trying to focus on the film because I really respect the art of, film critique and podcasting.
Cinemafia. Yeah, we're doing a job.
Exactly.
We're paid to do this, all right?
No,
That's right.
I don't want to be paid for my art
just-
because then
I'm
it
I'm
takes
not
out the
getting
Yeah, no.
You guys are getting paid.
What I do is I transfer $10 every week from one account to the other and label it Cinemafia. So I'm like, yeah.
That's not that's tax deductible.
Ooh, yeah, fuck yeah.
But, yeah, dude.
Oh, geez, Lewis, I don't know. I think perhaps that these lovely quips and fantastic lines that we all agreed were delightful, that
Yes.
maybe you could see as being a little forced because of your a high level
That's
of
true.
analysis.
Lewis does get mega triggered over
Yeah.
like one-liners, but in his
Yeah.
defense, so do I. Like I get frustrated. Like Captain Marvel is a great example.
Yeah.
And even though I was Mafia that time, I would like, as I said last time, I would bump it down 1 more point to 4 because of how bad it
that
was.
was
thing
such
with-
an interesting
the thing with
review 'cause
one-liners-
we all changed our reviews
Yeah.
halfway through.
The thing with one-liners is it depends on the context because this film, it was a very sort of wacky comedy-based adventure. So the one-liners fit perfectly. It's not like with Captain Marvel where it's like meant to be this like badass intergalactic space fight and then it's like, get off me, loser, Bush. It's not like shit like that where it's like, oh, we're trying to get across the characters being a badass and as a result it comes off as trying too hard. Here, they're trying to get across
These guys,
both characters
it was
as being
natural. This
Yeah.
was their friendship.
Yeah, we've seen them naturally outside of these
Guys,
contexts.
Abdullah is shaking.
Asher, if you are not the Mafia, then you are so fucking stupid because now you're casting aspersions. Because, like, was that a joke or are you
No, he
genuinely...
is shaking though. He's shaking a lot.
Yeah, well, so do I. I mean, look at the beard.
Okay, fine, Lewis, you are the Mafia.
I could see.
Okay, thank you. I just want some consistency.
I could like. I would be surprised if it were anyone but Asher, but I could accept it.
Because
Guys,
you're an adult.
Guys, unless anyone
Look
thinks...
at you. You're shaking a lot too, man.
I'm
Yeah.
jiggling. I always jiggle.
Yeah. Look, guys, unless anyone disagrees with this on principle, they think it's going to ruin the game, you have to remember there is still a lot of meta whether I'm playing mind games. I would like to go ahead and give the color of my card, and I could be being truthful, I could be making
I would
it
love
up.
you to, because
Stop
I
talking
also
about the card.
I also can give you the color of my card. Guys, by the way, there was a blue card in there. There were like at least a monster card in there. There was, and then the trap card, which is the
There-
purple card. So guys, pick a color and say that it was that color.
There weren't any blue cards.
Yes,
What?
there were.
I don't think there were.
Yes, there were.
The blue cards are like the ultimate monsters or something, aren't they?
No,
I swear there were two greens.
blue-colored cards.
Oh, no, the actual art, or you mean the actual frame?
There were blue-colored cards, definitely.
Looks to me like they were blue cards.
There was Mystical Space Typhoon, and there was
But that's blue. But that's,
Pendulum and Penetrable,
look, Obelisk.
and they were both blue cards.
Obelisk
I
from
can't
the,
tell you about Pendulum and Penetrable,
Look.
but the other one sounds
Look,
awfully
Andrew,
familiar to
Andrew,
me.
Obelisk, the main monster card from the Pegasus set, that has a blue outline. That's like a major monster, and I didn't see any of those. Oh, no, wait.
Do you mean Relinquished from the Pegasus?
I feel like it's...
It's Relinquished.
Oh, okay.
Look, guys,
I was the
Obelisk
main
the
one.
Tormentor.
I
You're
just
all
realized
allowed to tell
Jinzo.
me what
Obelisk
color
is
your
one
card
of the
was.
gods,
Okay.
and it's Relinquished. It's the crazy one
Okay.
from Pegasus.
I just realized there was Jinzo, and I feel like he may have been...
Jinzo.
I feel like... No. Was he?
Guys, we're going to take a little bit of a break right now while Lewis...
Actually, can you hit us up with Jinzo? Like, who is, like, just search Jinzo?
Yeah.
No.
I'm just going to say I am certain that Jinzo is not blue. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say right
Yeah,
now.
you're right, Lewis.
Sure.
Yep.
Look, Lewis, we weren't talking about, like, the literal definition of, like, the outline of a monster card is always blue.
Yeah.
He was referring to, like, the general overall color scheme of the card.
Yeah. Well,
I
Of
think
which
it makes-
two were blue.
It makes more sense to go
Alright.
for the actual color layout because...
No, it fucking doesn't.
Yes,
you-
because then
you
I could-
stupid dumb idiot.
How? Because then it's so
Shut up!
subjective because there's so many dark
What do you
colors.
mean so? No, you're. He's got a different brain. That's why he's getting hung up on these sort of
So
semantics.
you would have rather I said there is a blue...
certain type of condition.
You would have what?
Starts with A.
Make sure no one can see your card.
Ends with
They can't see it.
ism.
Lewis.
So Andrew, you would have
Lewis.
rather said my card is purple and blue and
Yep.
blah, as
Yeah.
opposed to the actual color outline.
Or
Yeah,
brown.
I would've.
Okay, I'll say that then.
What colour's your card, Lewis?
The outline of it is
Yeah.
orange, and the actual color of it is, I guess, blue, purple, white, mostly black. Pretty much
That's
dark.
freaking
That's
awesome, Lewis.
so pointless. That is so pointless. Never
Well-
talk about.
Well,
Guys,
let's-
I think it's totally legitimate to tell people what color your card is. It's illegitimate to show your card.
Yep.
Because
there
anyone
is
can
defense.
lie.
Yep, exactly. There's defense that I can make
Just
it up.
like Lewis did.
What the fuck? I literally just looked at my. Are you?
Whoa, very clever. He's convinced me. I think it's
Ooh.
Lewis.
That's it.
But guys, didn't I do a good job?
I'm prepared to vote.
I swear to God, I'm not the fucking mafia.
I know. I was joking.
Oh, thank Christ.
I was joking.
Maybe I do
because
have a different brain if I didn't get that you were joking.
I
there.
was joking because he
I
made
was
like
getting-
a horrible point and I was pretending
Okay.
like I was convinced.
Okay.
And I realized I ski. I don't mean to ski like that.
God damn.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
guys.
Now let's do the
Okay,
pen test.
you
Oh,
guys
again?
may have agreed something. Abdullah and I just agreed something. But the fact that Abdullah's reaction was rather questionable, I think it's Abdullah.
Really?
What?
What was his reaction?
His reaction was like, "Oh yeah, fuck, I just got away with it."
Is that what he said?
No, but in his brain, dude, let's vote for Abdullah.
Let's vote. I'm prepared to vote.
Oh my gosh, this
Alright.
is so okay. Well, like we have
Are we
to.
actually going to vote now?
Well, let's just be clear. We have to have a majority. So it either has to be 2 versus 1 versus 1,
Yeah.
or it has to be 3. So
Yeah.
whoever the majority, it has to be a majority. So it doesn't make sense if each of us is just voting for one person.
Yeah.
We want to actually vote the mafia off with a clear 2 versus 1 versus 1 or 3 versus 1.
Okay.
And I'm still confused.
So how about we like in the
How could you be confused? It's obvious.
Yeah.
Just
It's
because
me.
the fact that Asher is so bad at this game and is so willing to jump on accusations.
I think he's trying to do a better job than he has done in the past.
Yeah.
I'm
and
just
he
having
has.
a lot of fun.
He has done a bit better.
The fact that he
Mafia boy.
The fact that
I'm
he
not
tried
the
to call
mafia.
me out on my card, which I literally just looked at to confirm the colors, and then he's like, "Oh, that's interesting because you're lying, implying that I made up."
It's gonna be devastating for me if it's
Dude,
not him.
I swear
These
to God,
cards
it's
are
not
your
me.
cards that you chose.
Yeah.
It's totally possible.
You also
that
have to
would
remember this is
observed
from a
them.
special set where it's a shiny card, so it's going. If you, if
Oh
there
yeah,
are some
did I
colors,
mention mine's shiny?
it's chocolate.
well, only
Chocolatey
two of them.
fudge
Only
coated.
2 of them were shinies, I believe.
Oh yeah, mine's still shiny though.
Okay.
It
I
is.
think that your card then is. Let's see, which was that?
I
Blue,
think he's got the
and
trap
it's
card.
shiny.
You think he has
A
A-
blue
Asher,
shiny trap card.
what's the
What?
border color of your card? Is it pink?
No.
What is it?
What do you mean the border?
What's the
colour?
name of your card in 5 seconds?
Wait, are we supposed to give that stuff?
You can lie.
You can lie.
Well, I'll read it out.
Okay.
Mystical space typhoon.
Good on him for remembering what I said before. But that
Whoa.
was very slow.
But that's impressive that he remembered it. That's the thing.
Well,
Like-
of course, he would remember what I said.
Well, but
He even repeated it when
Wait,
I
did
said
you
it
say it
before.
out loud
Yeah,
recently?
I said the 2 blue cards are Mystical Space Typhoon and Pendulum Impenetrable.
Yeah, I thought it would
and
be
he
a
was
bit
like, it's
too
not
much.
Pendulum Impenetrable, but I can tell you about the other one. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Giving clear indication that because he had remembered Pendulum Impenetrable, it's likely that he'd remember Mystical Space Typhoon.
Well, it wasn't also. Fuck you all.
so confusing.
I think we should delve into these rules a bit more
Yeah.
offline to determine what sort of information about the cards we're allowed to give. I think that the name shouldn't give, but the color, the characteristics of it, we should give. But this is irrelevant because I'm not the mafia.
This is relevant because I'm voting now.
Okay, yeah, so am I.
oh my gosh. Okay, I'm not ready.
Lewis?
Please make a vote,
Oh,
Lewis. I
Lewis.
think it's
I'm going
time.
to
Lewis?
change my vote.
How's,
Who are
the,
you-
how's the podcast
I'm
look?
going to change my vote.
We're just about 1 hour 8 minutes.
All right.
Lewis.
So it is about time.
I'll change my vote.
Sorry guys, I'm just gonna need like 20 seconds just to think to myself.
I'm not voting for myself.
Sorry.
All right.
Andrew, I need to know, who are you thinking? Are you thinking...
It's clear who I'm thinking.
Okay. I guess it comes down to, because I'm equally confused over all three of you. Oh my God, Abdullah,
I know, right?
If Abdullah sneaks this, it's going to be insane. I'm fairly sure it's Asher. Asher probably voted this film a 9.
Wow. No.
Did he suggest the film?
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
He
you did.
chose it, but Asher had seen it. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm being very indecisive because there's a chance that that Andrew is sneaking us again. That this is like a 6 out of 10, where he had some issues with.
This film is way better than Seven Samurai. Way better. It's considerably better in my eyes, and I liked it more because it was funnier.
More funny. Mafia.
They spoke a bit more. The characters were, you know, they had a great relationship. There was some awesome stuff. They're great sequences, really.
The fact that Asher is bad at this game means I can sort of excuse some of his constant badgering of me, but the fact that he did fall asleep during this and he didn't seem like super invested in it at the time because of, you know, some of those moments where he was being a bit dull, not like as open-eyed as I was, makes me think maybe he's not the Mafia. So
Sure, you can vote for Abdullah and you can vote for Abdullah, all right? And if he's Mafia, then we win, right? Okay? But I'm going to have the moral high ground, one way or the other.
You wouldn't win because if the Mafia doesn't get voted.
because you're the Mafia.
I know. I'm going to have the moral high ground one way or the other.
All right, boys. I've written something down on the three here. Page paper.
I'm gonna write down mine.
If it is Abdullah, then that's life, you know? Then that's just life.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Little sneaky. It better not
I
be.
feel like I am going to be the one who's going to either... Like, I am the deciding vote, I'm pretty sure.
You might be, yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like everyone's voting for someone different.
Oh, Abdullah, you shouldn't vote for yourself, even if you are the Mafia. And I know I've
I
convinced
know
you.
that might be tempting. Good thing we told him just in time. You can still change your vote.
Okay,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
second.
Yeah.
1 second.
I'm sorry, I'm still so indecisive. I'm just
Is
running
there anything
through...
you want to discuss more?
Yeah, what do you
Real
want?
quick, Lewis.
Well,
About
thing
the
is,
film or whatever.
It's not really discussing
Or
it, but I can sort of I still just think to myself that for a normal person, which I think you are, Abdullah,
Thank you.
I don't think you would rate
Okay.
this like a 5.5, and I don't think you would rate this like a 9.5.
I disagree.
Wait, so, but you do think...
Sorry. I mean, I do agree.
Oh, okay.
I
was like-
do. Why did I say disagree? I do agree.
And with Asher,
This I agree.
if he had, like, although he had seen the film before, if he had watched it in its entirety and hadn't found those moments as clearly boring as he did, I would be more inclined to think, oh, he's lying. He probably thought this was like a 9. But I do think a 7 is, it's possible. And then I think for... Oh my gosh, but then for Andrew, I feel like he's been telling the truth, but I've also thought that before and he's got me. But I feel like he did repeat some points, not like verbatim, but he did sort of share a lot of my same thoughts. This is the hardest vote for Mafia I've
If
ever
you
had.
pledge us $5 a
This
month,
is
you
quite an
get
intense
access.
round.
You get access for
gosh.
$5 a month on our Patreon to Lewis's uninterrupted deliberations.
Yeah, my uninterrupted rants. Just a...
All we do is we isolate his entire audio file and we give that to you.
What's it? Something of consciousness?
Stream.
Stream
Stream
of
of
consciousness.
yeah, exactly. Because let's see. Okay, because fuck, I can believe all of you guys. If it's Abdullah, I'll be a bit depressed because it's like, oh, he's a guest and he's already gotten away with it on his first go,
Yeah.
and he seemed like he
And
himself.
he seemed so trustworthy. He
No,
was
no.
a good boy.
He seemed genuine, but then
Thank
he
you.
himself seems so like nervous and jovial. But maybe that's just him. If it wasn't for
Yes.
your rating being so confusing, I would maybe think
Oh.
it was you.
He spoke quite a lot about how the film was kind of
That's
like
true.
maybe symbolic and that
Yeah, I
sort of
think
thing.
it is.
He said that the chasing was, he spoke a lot about kind of the ephemeral things,
Yep, he did.
which are deeper than what we sort of spoke about.
Yeah.
He spoke about deeper parts of the film and he sort of focused on that. So that's why I think he thought about this film more, which could mean it was a 9.5 for him.
Yeah.
But oh man,
And-
well now I'm getting a bit of doubt, but I don't really
you're
want
not.
to change.
Yeah.
I don't really want to change my
I don't
vote.
think I'll
Andrew
ever
is the most confusing for me because there's some things that Andrew and I are into where we love, and there are some things we totally diverge on. But I think he's being honest. And then there's Asher, who, as I said, he has the defense that he's always bad at this game, so he can hide behind a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that is like it's become a good
Yeah,
defense.
it's
for
become
him.
a good defense. And it
I'm
comes
just
down
here to have a good time, boys.
it comes down to the fact where it's like, who would I be more embarrassed about losing to? I think it has to be
Pride,
Asher. So it's either I get Asher here or I lose.
Abdullah's putting his hand up because
No,
he's
sorry.
the mafia.
Yeah, he's just exactly. He's celebrating too
Look,
early.
Abdullah, Abdullah, who are you leaning towards?
Yeah.
See, I've been thinking, looking, listening intently.
Like an
Moving.
like an hour.
yeah. Okay.
And for some reason, because I wrote everybody's name, I was like, oh no, actually, maybe this one. No,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
it's this person. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. What if it is Andrew? all
Just got to
along?
be clear. If you put,
You're
if you're
voting for me.
Maybe, yeah. Because I don't know exactly, but I was like, I got to vote. But maybe it's
you
Andrew.
three,
Maybe
there
it
are-
is Andrew. I don't know.
Oh gosh, am I going to change my opinion again?
Hope I mean we'll figure it out. But
Okay. Well, look. Okay, you guys can lie, but tell me, as honest as you want to be, who you're voting for, just so I know who I have the best odds of voting for, so that we can get a majority vote. Abdullah, who are you voting for? And you can lie, but who do you think you're voting for? You're leaning towards Andrew.
it's either that or Ash.
Okay. And Asher, who are you leaning towards?
Abdullah.
Okay. And
Abdullah,
Andrew.
yeah.
And you're leaning towards Asher.
I'm leaning most heavily towards Lewis.
What?
No, just kidding. It's Asher. And I think Asher is going to vote for me as the mafia now that he knows that Abdullah is going to vote for me.
shit.
Oh my gosh. And he's going to trick. He was because he was.
Which means that he is Abdullah. You have to vote for Asher.
Not why.
Why? Wait a minute.
Because otherwise it's going to tie and Asher will win.
But-
if you vote for me,
But
because
it's not-
Asher's probably going to vote
Yeah,
for me.
that's true.
is he the mafia though?
I think he is the mafia.
No, I don't know.
Because
What the fuck,
you have to
guys?
notice,
Stop believing one another.
Abdullah, you have to remember, he was going after both of us at the start, mostly me, and then he switched
Yeah.
over to you. I
Yeah.
think that was because he realized he can't convince Andrew.
And then he
Oh,
switched.
so he's trying to convince Andrew.
He's
No,
tried
he's trying to
to
convince-
accuse three people. He's accused you. He's accused Lewis, and he's accused me all over this.
obviously, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's obvious.
Because I think
Yeah.
the play is he's trying to convince me
Yes.
to vote for you, and then I was because I was like, oh, okay, and then it's like,
Oh, so
okay,
it's like to
so then there's going to be
manipulate
two,
him.
And
yeah.
him knowing
So
that
he wins.
you're going
Yes.
to
I
vote for
see,
me
I see,
means
I
that
see,
he
I
would
see.
win by
I
voting
see
for
what
me
you're
as
doing.
well.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Guys,
I would-
people can have good strategies without being the mafia, okay?
Yeah.
Come on. Also, I'm not
do
smart enough to have a good strategy.
Or does,
I
is-
think
am I?
Studies
I do
philosophy,
think
so-
that what I did
And law.
wasn't quantum physics.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I thought of it in time.
You have to be
That's
up.
True.
You have to be up at late at night thinking, okay, fuck, how can I finally win an episode of Cinemafia? I've
It
lost
wasn't
8
quantum
episodes in a
physics,
row.
but I am happy I thought of it.
Yeah.
And
Surely it has to be
that's
depressing.
why you should vote for Asher because he'll split the vote and win.
Frick.
I am not the mafia. I'm voting for Abdullah.
This, of course, relies on Lewis voting for Asher as well, which I think he's going to do. I think he'll do it.
I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it in the dark until
Okay.
we reveal.
Sure.
Andrew has been taking control of our voting, guys.
That's just Andrew.
I've been pointing out the potential of how the mafia can win.
This man is a psychologist.
I wouldn't point this out. I would have let you guys sleep.
And you
if
could
this
say,
were Mafia.
and you could say that is a
yeah.
good defense because you wouldn't point it out, and the fact you're doing it is a good defense. But I know that I myself do that, where it's like, okay, now this could make me seem like I'm the mafia, and the fact that I'm pointing this out and choosing not to, I hope shows you guys that I trust you guys enough to not think I'm mafia.
Look,
so
here at
I totally get it.
Cinemafia, we provide an easy listening experience for you to relax and fall asleep.
Look, we need to vote. This is now an hour, 15 minutes. We'll probably have a bit of a maybe 10 minutes max of the
Let's
mafia
vote.
giving the actual. Okay, let's vote. Let's vote.
Oh, okay.
Anyone wants to change their votes?
I'm not
Go.
changing my vote.
Okay.
Lewis. Okay.
You guys all voted?
I have voted.
Yeah.
I've got 2 names on either side, so...
What?
Oh, well, you cross one out clearly
No,
then.
no, I will put one forward,
I've
and I'll
only
say
got,
it.
I've got one
So what do we
name.
do?
So we just go around. I'm going to be last because I feel like I'm going to be the
Sure.
vote decider.
We'll put them all in
I'll
the
hold
middle.
mine out first then.
Okay.
I voted for Asher.
Asher?
I voted for Andrew.
I voted for Andrew.
We've lost.
And I have voted for someone whose name starts with A. Their name is Asher.
Oh. Oh, fuck. Okay, so what happens in this
He's
case?
won.
Oh my gosh.
So what happens now?
Mafia reveal.
We reveal our cards. I was good boy.
Oh, fuck!
Oh my gosh.
I'm not the mafia.
Fucking hell. Abdullah's
Damn.
done it. Holy
Abdullah!
shit.
Sorry.
From out of nowhere.
Sorry.
Please, Abdullah,
What
tell
is your
us
rating?
how did you
All
vote
right,
it?
I
Just
did,
tell us
I
your
did give a
rating.
clue that I said I don't usually like westerns.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And I still don't usually like westerns.
Oh,
So I appreciated the film. I do genuinely appreciate,
my
but it's
God,
not a
yeah.
film that I would normally like. So I would give it a 5 out of 10.
Wow.
Which is for me is still kind of generous because I watch a lot of movies.
That's totally alien to us.
Yeah,
we would
that's
say a
insane.
five.
So it's like all I want to mention is I was genuine, but I did hate a lot of stuff in the film.
Hate?
Like the part with the cycling. I was like, what the frick is this? This
It was
is a
like
waste of
a
my time.
2-minute scene though.
I know, I hated it. It was like took me out of the movie.
Jeez,
and
wow.
I thought the female character, she was unnecessary because I think they phoned her in because there was like just about two guys. They needed to have a
What do you mean unnecessary? She was in reality. She existed.
she's in reality, but for the movie purpose, it was bad. She was, I feel, badly written.
In what
That's
way?
my I don't know. I watched and I felt like she was just there for the sake of being there. I personally didn't feel like she was an important. Like she had importance for the sake of it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was. Didn't do anything. If she wasn't there in the film, it wouldn't change anything.
Like,
What about
her
the second
character
half
didn't
when they're in
develop.
Bolivia?
Yeah, even that.
Okay.
If she wasn't there, it wouldn't change anything except like some funny, nice, happy scenes, but the whole thing they could have done it on their own. That's what I felt, and I don't know. It was a bit cheesy for my taste. I did genuinely like the chase.
Okay.
And because that symbolic bit, I actually kind of enjoyed that. I saw that it was trying to say something.
Yeah.
But I think in the end, it didn't pull through. In the end, I feel because I think in the end they just basically wanted to make a nice adventure road movie kind of thing, and not try to say something poignant, except maybe just hint at something.
Yeah.
So that's my thing.
So they didn't have a clear message for you.
No, I said message, but something they want to say with the film, which is not necessary. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Something can just be beautifully entertaining. And
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be more enough, which it was.
Abdullah, would you recommend this film to anyone? You've given it a 5.
Yes.
Which in our books means that it's, worth watching.
But to you said a 5 is something that you could still really appreciate.
Because I appreciate the film. Because if it was like less than a 5 or less than 5.5, then I'm like, then that's like, I wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a film that I would sit and watch the whole. There are films which I would go and then I'll be in the cinema and I'm like, okay, I cannot continue watching this, I will leave.
And that's a less than 5.
That's a 3. That's a 1 usually. If you
Yeah.
make me leave, that's
Yeah.
nothing. Yes, you're horrible.
I mean, I felt that Phantom of the Paradise. I did want to leave during that, and I rated
Don't listen
that
to
a
him.
1.
That was a fantastic film.
Fantastic.
He's weirdly,
Abdullah, if you had a friend who was like, Abdullah, I really want to get into Western
Yes,
films,
yes.
and I know that you know a lot about films.
Yes.
Would you recommend any? Would you recommend Butch
I
Cassidy
would
and
recommend
Sundance
something
Kid?
other than this.
Wow.
okay.
You wouldn't even recommend it.
I would, if I was to recommend, I would recommend other films Western that I enjoyed much more than
It's
this.
so pervasive, If someone has to choose for themselves, whether they
Oh, they could choose for themselves, but if they ask me, then I'll give them my
Yeah,
opinion.
Yeah.
fair.
Which
Interesting.
I think there are Westerns that are more. Like,
Have you
strong,
seen
which I haven't seen much yet.
Once Upon a Time in the West?
I haven't.
Well, we won't be reviewing that film. It's a very long film.
Oh, is that?
It's fucking fantastic. If anyone's listening who wants to watch a beautiful, exquisitely made Western, Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What did you think of the chemistry between the characters? Because I thought that was the main
I
selling
thought that was really good. That was the two guys. That was very. That was not bad.
Okay.
I
And-
think Rob Redford was a great. He's to me the Sundance. He was the best part of the film.
Okay.
Like in terms of his character.
Why were you saying interesting so much during the film?
Yeah.
Because I do get into films. Like
Okay.
even if I watch movies and I try to get into it.
Okay.
But then I go back and I think about it. It's like,
Do you do that in the cinema? Do people
Yes.
go
Yes,
shut the
yes,
fuck
yes,
up?
Yes, yes, my
Whoa, oh my
I
God.
remember when I watched Hot Fuzz in the cinema. This is a long time ago.
love that
And,
film.
and I remember like my friend was like, "What the frick are you?" Because I was really getting into it. There's a whole gun shootout or something.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, "Damn, that's awesome."
Yeah.
That was
But I remember like there's one film I watched which I loved when I watched it in the cinema. Then thinking back, it's like maybe I see the problems. Was Superman v Batman?
Oh, yeah.
When I watched it, I was like, "Damn, that's awesome."
Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah.
And then I go back and I watched it again. I was like, "Oh, okay." Maybe I was too much into the hype
Yeah, yeah.
of it than the actual.
I got that with Captain Marvel. I came out going, fuck yeah. And then these boys shat on it for me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, maybe you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
wow, somewhat out of nowhere.
Yeah, no,
And-
surprise.
And I wouldn't say like I definitely suspected you. I thought there was a chance that it could have been everyone,
yeah.
but I did think it was most. I was 95% on Asher. 95% on him.
Yeah.
I thought it was a 9 for him, but genuinely
Wow.
a
That's a hard
7.
one.
Genuinely a 7.
Yeah, genuinely 7.
was that just because you fell asleep, or is it was a 7 out of 10 because you fell
Well,
asleep?
I fell asleep because I got up very early in the morning and played hockey. But
You played goalie.
it was a great game.
I
We
know.
lost
I
1-0,
play
but-
goalie too. It's I used to play goalie in hockey. So
Let's
yeah,
talk
before his-
about,
before his
let's
injury.
talk about hockey.
Yeah. Hockey's
no,
so fun.
It's a 7, I think. Maybe I could go higher because I think I would recommend this film because it transgresses a lot of the typical Western, shooting, dooting, rooting, tooting
it wasn't
sort of stuff.
It wasn't as gritty.
Yeah. It was flowery, it was flamboyant.
That was some bullshit when you were saying about how you appreciated the grittiness of the film, where it wasn't gritty at all.
In the beginning, it was. I felt that was, but then it wasn't.
That was like just setting the scene. The opening scene was like showing that Sundance was dangerous.
Yeah.
And that was a really intense scene. He was like,
There's
you
this
should apologize.
Abdullah, if you want to watch a gritty film, Seven Samurai.
Yeah. Oh, I
That
love
is
my
gritty.
Kurosawa.
Oh, really?
I love my
yeah.
Kurosawa.
Yeah, I've only seen Seven Samurai and Rashomon, but
That's a Rashomon.
Rashomon's great, and
about
Seven Samurai is
Godzilla?
fantastic. What you
That's not Kurosawa.
Gojira.
Same was that
Toho, same company.
Oh,
same
yes,
company.
yes,
yes.
Sorry.
Same year,
I
same year
got
too.
same company and same year. mixed up with
I
director.
watched Three Kings. I think he made a film called Three Kings, I believe, or something.
Yeah. What did you think of the action scenes in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? Because I thought they were very interesting. I thought they were, well shot. I thought they were creative.
Yeah.
I think the last one was quite kind of well thought of.
Okay.
I think especially the cinematography of it, I appreciated that. Like how the camera followed Butch Cassidy out of the hut to wherever they were. They were trying to run toward the horses. I think that was quite interesting. And like I said, I can't help but think about other stuff I've watched more recently that kind of mimic that thing. And like video games, like and so I saw that.
Yeah.
But still.
Have you played Red Dead Redemption?
I
just
find-
as an aside.
I actually haven't.
Oh, okay.
I would love to, but I haven't.
Because a big
It's pretty
reason
fun.
I love this movie as much as I did is because it was like, wow, this is like the exact same. It's like the beautiful, like, 2012, like, computer graphics. It's like I'm seeing this in real life here. It just looks beautiful. Because I thought like the background of all these great shots really added to like the great comedy and the great dynamic between the characters. So I can totally see your reasoning. I'm just shocked that you only gave this a 5 out of 10.
Disappointing.
Yeah,
guys.
I'm a bit
Thought
depressed.
you had better taste.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's all good.
Well, Andrew, I just got to say, we're finally back on track for agreeing basically on our opinions on a film. It's been a while.
It has
Fist
been.
bump me,
It's
my
been a
dude.
while.
Oh
Bam.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
basically, I would recommend this film.
Awesome.
I would
Definitely.
too.
Yep.
Yep.
And Lewis?
Asher, once again, you played this terribly. So you made yourself more
Asher,
suspicious than
you're
you
garbage.
were.
You'll never be good.
Look, guys,
you need to.
this film. Just one more thing. I can't believe that film was under 2 hours long. I didn't feel that.
Was it under 2 hours?
It was under 2
I
hours.
felt it was more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was an
It was
hour
un-
53. You know.
Okay. Yeah,
Wait, do you
close.
thought? Wait, is that a bad thing or?
I thought it was about 2 hours. I would have
Yeah.
expected it to be.
I mean,
just
I saw
under.
the time code, so I knew it was about
Oh,
that. But are you saying that as a bad thing? Like it felt way longer
No,
than it
it
was?
just drew out for me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'd still recommend it.
Yeah.
Go in with a fresh mind and not tired.
For
because
me,
you
it was
could
sort of
fall
like I
asleep.
enjoyed the length because like you're following them right from the start when they're the gang leaders and then they're on the run, then they're starting up a new life. So I thought that length.
Perhaps we should
sort of added to it.
relitigate every single thing we've already said about the film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't need to. I'm standing by my
Okay.
rating.
Well, you sit there and
you
we'll-
would recommend it, Lewis?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I love this film. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. And based on our recommendations, collectively, Cinemafia recommends that no one listens to Abdullah's opinion.
Exactly.
Abdullah,
the
you're
hell?
not coming back on the show.
Oh,
Yeah.
You did too well. That's why
exactly.
we can't invite you back.
I'm too good at this.
You're going to go up on the
Well
little
done.
board on the wall that we're going to put up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not real, but we can do it.
We
The
can
board-
imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
the board's
Yeah.
in our mind.
Yeah, the listeners don't know.
Yeah, he's coming for you, Andrew. He's coming for your list of mafia victories.
Okay.
Dude, Abdullah, the listeners know fucking nothing. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. Fuck those guys.
We love you. You just keep coming. You just keep coming.
Yeah,
What?
we love the viewers. Thank you
Yes,
for
thank
viewing.
you.
You're all
Thank you.
mafia.
Yeah, guys, thanks for listening to yet another beautiful, fantastic Western episode of Cinemafia.
It was very intense this time.
Yes, this was the hardest episode ever in the world.
One can say it was a Mexican shootout.
Hey.
Yeah.
Standoff.
It
Sorry.
was
Yeah.
definitely.
I mean-
That's just no. God, that's horrible.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that personally because I have good taste in films, Abdullah. And so do I have a good taste in one-liners that relate to the situation. Yeah, you pull your glasses down.
Just
I can do
like
that. I can do that.
Butch and Sundance. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. This has been Lewis,
Andrew.
Asher.
Abdullah.
3 A's and an L. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace out. Goodbye forever.
Bye.
Good day.
And we'll see you guys next week when we shall be reviewing The Godfather, a 1972 American crime film directed by Francis Ford Coppola. We'll see you guys then.